Hi, welcome to a brand new episode of the Michele Tafoya podcast. Today, Clark, Paige Bueckers, race, WNBA, sports, tennis, women's athletics. Is race a factor in whether or not you are marketable? We're going to talk about this because Paige Bueckers made some comments that I respect but disagree with. So I respectfully disagree with them. We're going to get into this. In the meantime, please hit that subscribe button wherever you are, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast. Just hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to have you on board. We have some great interviews coming up. We have tons in the library that you're going to want to get your hands on as well. Today, look, I covered sports for the better part of 35 years. And I covered men's sports and I covered women's sports. And as a matter of fact, when the WNBA began, I was one of the three play-by-play voices. Hannah Storm and Robin Roberts were the others. I worked with Reggie Miller on Lifetime Television, covering the WNBA from its inception. So I saw the initial year of it. And what I think is going on right now is a cultural moment where white players are feeling guilty for their success. They're feeling bad about it. They're apologizing for it without really understanding the history of the league and maybe some realities that are actually out there. Hey, I want to tell you about my friends at besthotgrill.com. You know, there are a lot of special events coming up soon, and besthotgrill.com recommends the gifts of good grilling and healthy eating. If you have a mom, dad, or grad you want to honor, do it with the gift that will be used, be unforgettable, and truly hot. That would be a Solaire infrared grill from besthotgrill.com. Solaire infrared grills heat up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes. And it produces juicy, tasty food that is unmatched by any conventional grill. I'm telling you, I have one. I can vouch for this. Now, maybe you're hitting the road or having a staycation. Solaire has hot and fast portable, built-in, and cart models to help you step up your grilling. All Solaire infrared grills are made in the USA and built to last. Solaire grills deliver the wow that everybody likes to get in a gift or major purchase. Learn more about the amazing Solaire infrared grills at besthotgrill.com. Besthotgrill.com. Just go to besthotgrill.com. White players are feeling guilty for their success. They're feeling bad about it. They're apologizing for it without really understanding the history of the league and maybe some realities that are actually out there. I refer to Paige Bueckers. She played at UConn, tremendous player. She's from the state I live in, Minnesota. My niece played against her in high school. So this is close to home, but Paige Bueckers is now an international star. She's a superstar, number 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft this year. She's going to Dallas. She spoke to Time magazine and she echoed something that Caitlin Clark recently said. We all know Caitlin Clark has revolutionized women's basketball. That in a moment. Here's what Paige Bueckers said. She's white, and she said, quote, "It's still an issue every single day. There's not ever equal coverage. There's white privilege every single day that I see. I feel like I've worked extremely hard, blessed by God. But I do think there's more opportunities for me. I feel like even just marketability, people tend to favor white people, white males, white women. I think it should be equal opportunity. I feel there is privilege to what I have and to what all white people have. I recognize that. I want to counteract that with the way I go about my business." Paige is entitled to her opinion. She's a hell of a basketball player. And if she wants to use her platform in this way, phenomenal, great, go ahead. But she's misguided in her view of reality. I don't think she has a realistic view of this issue. Let's start here. The population of the United States is 13.4% Black. The population of the WNBA is 80% Black. So Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark they're in the minority in the WNBA. Now, when you hear people say, I'm excited because that person looks like me, they represent me, does that only go one way? Are only Black and brown people allowed to say, or women allowed to say, she looks like me? I would say right now in the United States, there are a bunch of young girls who happen to be white, an immutable characteristic that they should not apologize for, by the way, or feel bad about, who are saying, Caitlin Clark, she looks like me. Paige Bueckers, she looks like me. That's representation too, isn't it? In a sport that is 80% Black? So isn't it reasonable that these two women, who, by the way, are two of the best in the game — you could argue Caitlin Clark's the best player on the planet, although I'll get to some others in a moment — Caitlin Clark has revolutionized the game. She's brought more eyeballs to the WNBA and women's basketball than any player, perhaps in history. More than Rebecca Lobo, more than Lisa Leslie. And Rebecca she's Cuban, but presents as white, I would say, or brown. So doesn't it make a little bit of sense that suddenly you have these two WNBA superstars who look like a lot of the American population, who look like a lot of young girls who happen to be white? That's a big audience that people want to market to, but they also happen to be two astonishingly good talents. Now, there are other astonishingly good talents. And let me go back now to my first year in the WNBA. This was the inaugural season of the WNBA. It came on the heels of USA women just dominating the Olympics. So which three players did the WNBA highlight as its core stars in that first year? I was there. I know. Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, and Rebecca Lobo. Lisa Leslie is Black. Cheryl Swoops is Black. Rebecca Lobo, like I said, she's half Cuban. Her dad is Cuban. Do with that information what you will. You could call her brown. You could call her presenting as white. Regardless, two of the three were Black. All right. So that was the first year. And that was 3 years before Paige Bueckers was born. So Paige Bueckers wasn't around for that. I was. And whatever Paige Bueckers is being told about white privilege, she clearly has absorbed. And she's decided to feel guilty about her skin color. She does not need to apologize for her talent or her skin color. Now, to her assertion that Black women aren't as marketable or don't make as much or don't have the opportunities, I hope Paige is listening, though it's doubtful. Now, Caitlin Clark made similar comments, by the way. Caitlin Clark said, I definitely have privilege being targeted for reasons other than the fact that you're a rookie. Well, I don't think I was being targeted. So, right. But what did people think? This is David Letterman talking to her. I'm obviously white, Clark said, but I think I'm somebody who grew up a huge fan of the league. I grew up watching the league, going to games, supporting this league. So I know where this league comes from. A lot of Black women that grew up making this league what it is. She's right. But she happens to be white. Not her fault. You don't need to apologize for that, Caitlin. I respect the hell out of your game. You don't need to apologize for being white. You represent a ton of kids in America who are excited to follow you because now they believe that they might be able to do it too. Clark added, that's kind of the shoulders that we stand on. So I think that was something I'm very aware of and something I'm very thankful for. She said that Black women who made the WNBA what it is deserve all the credit. The more we can give credit to them, the better. I'm very aware of that, and I know that, and I think there was a responsibility in acknowledging that. Again, absolutely. Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo. That's just the start. Those were the three women who were the center of the WNBA, and they stand on other shoulders too. Cheryl Miller, Ann Myers. Those of you that know your basketball history, you know this. Cheryl Miller is the first superstar, Annie Myers as well. Nancy Lieberman Klein. So, having said all this, now I'm going to tell them why they're incorrect in their assumptions about marketing. And we'll start with this. I have in front of me the top 15 highest paid female athletes in 2024 and their earnings breakdown. Number 1, top earning female in women's athletics in 2024, just last year, Coco Gauff. She's a tennis player. She is Black. And when you think of the most marketable female athletes of all time, Serena Williams, who I think has a net worth of around $300 million right now, and who was just at the Met Gala, incredibly marketable to everyone. Now you could say, oh, well, this is tennis. Well, so what? If you're saying that Black women don't have as many opportunities as white men and women, I'm offering evidence to the contrary. Coco Gauff made about $21 million last year. Now, down on the list is Caitlin Clark, but she's like number 10 out of the top 15. Okay, let's move on to the top players paid in the WNBA, the highest earners in the WNBA. Number 1, who's the highest paid WNBA, who has the biggest contract in the WNBA? Her name is Jackie Young. She is Black. She is the highest paid player in the WNBA. You know who's second? And Young she gets about $252,000 annually. She signed a 2-year deal. Following Young in the second spot is Indiana Fever star Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell is Black. She's the second highest paid player in the WNBA. And trailing her is Jewel Lloyd. Jewel Lloyd is Black. So the top 3 highest paid players in the WNBA are all Black. Now, that would make sense given that the WNBA is 80% Black, 20% other. But to suggest that they're not getting their due, I think is incorrect. There you've got the top 3 highest paid women in the league are Black. Okay, now let's move to the case of A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson is a certified superstar. In fact, my husband reminded me about A'ja Wilson. It's not like he's a WNBA junkie. A'ja Wilson has a shoe out that is pink. It's super cool. And it is massive. A'ja Wilson is a superstar. Angel Reese has a ton of marketing endorsements. A ton. Reese's Pieces. No, Reese's Crunch, the cereal being one of them. Reese's as a whole should just embrace Angel Reese, beginning to end. Now we'll get to shoes. Because signature shoes, Air Jordan, signature shoe of Michael Jordan, right? Signature shoes are one of those things that says to the world, I have made it. I have a shoe in my name. You can buy my shoe. You can wear my shoe. It's got my name on it. Oh, so cool. Who was the first woman on the planet with a signature shoe? Cheryl Swoops. Black woman, played at Texas Tech. One of those 3 names I mentioned, first in the WNBA, one of those. She had one before Lisa Leslie had one. There are 15 women in the WNBA, active and retired, who have signature shoes. 15. 9 of them are black. 6 of them are white. Again, you could say, well, it's an 80% black league. Of course, there should be more black women with signature shoes. Yeah. And there are. There are. I mean, so this notion that if you are black, you don't have the opportunities to be as marketable is simply, it's false. With all due respect to Caitlin and Paige Bueckers, Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, it is false. It is demonstrably false. I see Angel Reese everywhere I go. I see more of Angel Reese in magazines and on television than I do of Caitlin Clark. Now, Caitlin Clark dominates the TV ratings. You know why? She's a generational player. We have never seen a women's player like Caitlin Clark. Ever. What Caitlin Clark does is what Steph Curry does. She can shoot from just about anywhere on the floor. That is her trademark. She has a signature shoe. It's like nothing we've ever seen. When there's someone like nothing you've ever seen, people are like want to watch. Tiger Woods was another example of someone nothing we'd ever seen before. Caitlin Clark is the first woman who can, the minute she gets to midcourt, she can launch the basketball and it has every chance of going in. She is an unbelievable player. And she earned every bit of it, and she does not need to apologize for it, full stop. But what's happened to Caitlin is she has been targeted on the floor. There have been moments where people have just slammed into her for no apparent reason. They are sending messages. She was snubbed from the Olympic team, 2024 in Paris, totally snubbed by Dawn Staley, who, by the way, Dawn Staley is another player who's in the Hall of Fame. She is black and she had a signature shoe. And now she's one of the highest paid coaches in women's basketball, women's college basketball. And she's earned every bit of it. No apology necessary from anybody who achieves merit. Your skin color has nothing to do with it. And if you want to believe that the vestiges of racism have crept into the WNBA, there's just too much evidence that says no. Marketability is based on a million things. It's based on a million things. It's not just how successful a player you are, because there are players who are incredibly successful in the NBA and the WNBA who are reluctant to give interviews. They don't like to talk. They don't smile much, whatever. They don't post on social media. So they're not as marketable as, say, Shaquille O'Neal, who is everywhere, who has charisma oozing out of every single pore. Okay, so marketing is a subjective thing. The WNBA is paying its top 3 players, all of them black. They are the top 3. Now, their marketability from there, it depends on a lot of things. Where are they playing? Are they in New York? Are they in Las Vegas? Do they like being in front of a camera or do they not? Do they like to post on social media or do they not? How well known are they? Angel Reese is incredibly well known. So there you go. And she's done that for herself. She walks into a building and everyone knows she's there. It's her style. And she will be afforded tons of marketing opportunities. I say all this to say that these notions that Nike commercials are still trying to push on young women, that you've been told all your life you can't. You've been told all your life that you won't. Expiration date is past. We like to talk to young people like they don't know history. And it's a disservice. And I wish more people would look into their history of their sport, of their profession, whatever. I'm going to use this other example. I recently got an email from a young lady in my hometown who goes to my high school. And she said, I want to be a female sportscaster. And I thought, female sportscaster? How about just a sportscaster? And do you have any advice for me? And I wrote her back and I said, well, let me understand. What is it? Why do you want to go into the business? That will help me write you some advice. She said, I want to be someone that young girls can look up to because women are constantly being shoved down in sports. Now, as I was reading this, I kid you not, as I was reading her email, I had a Minnesota Timberwolves game on. They are a WNBA men's team. The studio host was a woman. The studio analyst on the broadcast was a woman. The sideline reporter on the broadcast was a woman. I worked for 30 years as a woman. I know people who are producers, directors, editors, they are executive producers. They are in marketing. They are in agencies. There are a ton of women doing this. And yet somehow this 17-year-old girl in Southern California believes that women are constantly being pushed aside. My producer producing this podcast right now is a woman. It's beyond the expiration date, folks. Could we please acknowledge is there more progress to be made? Probably always. But to suggest that it's not where we are now is to ignore all the progress that has been made. All these women who Caitlin Clark says she stands on their shoulders. Yeah, Lisa Leslie's in the Hall of Fame. Don Staley's in the Hall of Fame. We could go on and on. So it's admirable that you want to boost everyone around you who is great. But let them boost themselves. Because they seem to be doing a pretty good job just going out and playing. They seem to be doing a pretty good job just going out and representing themselves. And you don't have to apologize for being white and being successful. Look around you, Paige Bueckers. You are not the only female athlete with amazing marketing opportunities. You are not. You may choose to look at it that way because that's what you learned at UConn. I don't know. I don't know where you learned it. And Caitlin Clark, you can choose to look at it because all of the players around you are resentful of you. That's not your fault. Don't apologize for your greatness. Don't apologize for all the work that you did. And I've seen the videos, Caitlin. You went through tedious drills to become the player you are. Don't apologize for that. Be humble. That's fine. Say it's God-given talent. That's fine. But God also made you who you are, and God made everyone who they are, and it's immutable, the character. The color of your skin is the way you were born. And if you see racism in the world, go ahead. Fight it with every fiber of your being. I applaud that. But don't make it up. Don't say it is where it isn't. Acknowledge that Coco Gauff is making a ton of money. Acknowledge the success of Serena Williams, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, Don Staley, Angel Reese. I can go on. Just because you are in the minority doesn't mean you have to apologize for your greatness. Again, the WNBA is 80% Black, the players. And the cream always rises to the top. So enjoy that signature shoe. Enjoy influencing young kids, but don't tell them there's racism where there isn't. Don't tell them there's white privilege where there isn't. You are not privileged because you worked your tail off your whole life to be great. Angel Reese did the same thing, and she's being offered the same opportunities. Again, I could go on and on with the examples. I've been there. I've seen them. I've watched them. I've witnessed them. There is greatness everywhere in this league. And the signature shoes are there to prove it. That there are plenty of phenomenal women, black and white, that are having success because of the work that they put in to be great players too. I pray for the day where all of this identity politics comes to an end, although I don't know that it will. Because I know that some people do it to make other people happy, to seem more empathetic, to not draw as much attention to themselves. But you don't have to feel bad and you don't have to apologize. Just admit, yeah, God gave you a lot of talent, and you know what you did with it? You maximized it. Like Kobe Bryant said, I know I have talent, but I practice like I don't have any. That's what made Kobe great. So when you say that black men and black women can't get the marketing opportunities, I don't know if we're watching the same TV. Maybe you don't watch TV and see the show, because kids today, they don't watch TV, they stream. Okay. Well, I don't know if Shaq is streaming. I would guess that he is. He is among the most popular personalities, period, the end, in sports broadcasting. So, everyone, if you don't know these names, you don't have to. But Asia Wilson is a superstar. And she's got a whole line of stuff coming out. But please, point them out to your daughters and don't say that your white daughters have privilege. Just tell them to work hard and rely on their merit, and not to lean into skin color as an excuse or as a reason for anything else. That's how we get past this. Just like I told the young lady who wrote to me, because women are constantly being shoved down in sports. No, they're not. And I don't know who's telling you that, but I'm living proof. And I've got a million friends in the business who are living proof that that is not true. And why these narratives continue to get boosted and promoted and outnumbered by the stuff that I've just exhibited here. I don't know. All right. So, like all the firsts, we keep having these firsts. Paige, you are not the first white woman to be a dominant player. There was Sue Bird, Sabrina Ionesco, but Caitlin Clark has revolutionized the game. Let's just accept that. She happens to be white. But there's a player coming up out in Southern California who's going to be the next dominant superstar. Her name's Juju. Watch for her. And what are you going to say when she comes out and gets a bigger contract than you and has a shoe contract and everything else? What are you going to say then? Just let it be. Just go have fun. I acknowledge and accept and respect that you want to make the world a better place. But don't ignore the facts. And let's just let these narratives about women being oppressed and Black athletes not having opportunities for marketing. It's the facts just don't line up with that. But you are who you are, and you're going to do what you want to do. And I respect that, but I'm going to tell every parent out there again, Tell your kids that they are in control of their own narrative. No matter what their gender, no matter what their color, they are in control. And they're in control of the way that they view the world. So help them view it in an objective manner and without these messages of division. That's how we get past this. Be brave. Do good. I'm Michele Tafoya. We'll see you next time. Hey, you can keep up with the Trump administration when you subscribe to the Trump Report. It's an email that brings you daily highlights from the Oval Office right to your inbox 5 days a week. Subscribe today at SalemPodcastNetwork.com/Trump.